Namaste and welcome to the Indian Gaming Convention, ladies and gentlemen. The future of Bharat's tech is around gaming. It's a challenge, or it's something which the Prime Minister, the government itself has seen as gaming to be an enabler. Now, how can gaming be an enabler? In conversation with two people who are perhaps right in the thick of it all, and they are going to be, if I may say, the Vishwakarmas of this entire gaming revolution in our country. So, Harsh Jain, co-founder and CEO of Dream Sports, and Sandhya Devanathan, Vice President, Meta India. Oh, I got both of you together. I've got lots to ask you. But the first question, how are you making gaming an enabler? How are you going to use AI, deep tech for the better?
Okay.
How can that be done?
So I want to point out to a few ways in which I think, our technologies are being used. One, I think just job creation, right? So if you think about gaming, you're talking about 700 or 650 million gamers, but that in 2028, that's going to come on the back of a lot of hopefully jobs that are created. And those will not just be, jobs in creative or marketing, but also deep tech jobs, right? Because we'll increasingly start using AI in building those games. And I think the PwC report talked about, which they just released today, and the IGC talked about around 250,000 jobs that will get created incrementally, and a business and an economy that could be 8 billion. The second is, I think platforms like ours provide global reach. So I would love to sort of see a lot of Indian games go global and, work with them. We saw that with China. If you see the Chinese gaming industry, it's gone global. In fact, a lot of the Japanese clients I work with would say, hey, can you help me? Chinese games are now in the top 5. I would love to see a scenario where Indian games, go global, go viral. So that's another way in which we can
She's
help.
looking at me, but talking to you.
Yeah, no, I look.
He and I have a philosophical disagreement.
Look, first of all, I think that, Meta does an excellent job of responsible advertising as well. Regulation will help. Doing the right thing works, right? It helps in the long run. All the good players will go through the grind and get out on the other side positive. All the bad players taking advantage of the times will not be able to. I think also in what Sandhya was talking about, like we have an Indian gaming ecosystem. That yes, we have 1,000 companies in India today, but out of those, 900 will be really small startups. With AI, with things like Llama, right, which Dream Sports is also planning to use extensively. It's amazing. Open source, you can build out your own models. You don't have to, your data still stays with you. This really empowers like every Indian potential entrepreneur, not just the 900 that have started a company, but any kid, any person in a village, in a town with a mobile phone in the hand and can basically become a gaming entrepreneur. You no longer need a gaming studio and a game developer and a game designer. For most businesses, I'm talking about gaming now, but you can literally become an entrepreneur from your house and push out to all of India. And the beautiful part about India, the one that we take most for advantage, right? Most for granted, is that we have a local market.
Yeah.
Where if you become great in your local market, you're talking about China, right?
Yeah.
The top Chinese games have become global games because it doesn't matter, as long as you're big in China, you're you're top 5 in the world. Like Dream 11 today, we have 250 million users in India playing fantasy cricket, fantasy sports. We are the world's largest fantasy sports company, right? We are not available outside India, but we're the world's largest.
This market is enough.
So
in terms of potential.
The amazing thing that Indians can capitalize on is that solve for India.
Solve for India.
You don't need to go outside. You don't need to go abroad. And I know this is where we philosophically
disagree.
Yeah.
No, the point is that if you're solving for India and if you're creating scale in India, by default, then you are ready to scale up to the world also, and you don't need to first tap your own potential fully.
Just think about how lucky we are. If you're in a European nation, if you're in Japan, if you're in these kind of places, you literally have the population of Mumbai.
Correct.
Right? You launch, once you cross like 20 million, 30 million, whatever users, you're done. Your domestic population is over. Then you have to go international to expand.
Yeah.
We have...
I know. The reason I sort of have a slight difference of opinion is that I do think on hyper casual and casual games, or even a AAA title coming out of India, right? Yes, the Indian market is large, but I think there's also opportunity to have cultural sort of, export coming from India, which then goes global. And I think as a platform, we connect 3.2 billion people across the globe.
Yeah.
So we would love to partner with Indian companies. We already do some with, in fact, with a bunch of Indian gaming companies and take them global. But I see that also as then making one, I think, more jobs, but two, also then the 8 billion becomes 16 billion or 20 billion in terms of the price.
You're getting a lot of people to play sport and dream sport. But what are you doing for the Olympic dream? What are you doing to ensure that we become a sporting nation?
Of course, look, all of this finally ends up in pushing the nation forward as a sporting nation. We're not a game. I mean, I know people think we're a gaming company, but we actually have Dream 11, which is fantasy sports. You can't even really play it anytime you want, right? It's based on a live event, a sports event. So you have to watch the sports match. But we also have sports content, sports commerce, sports travel and experiences.
It was Sports Foundation. That
And a sports foundation. So I was saying all of this is helping Indians get more in touch with sports. And the sports foundation is, our entire focus is how do we get, grassroots sports to develop? Because I think that's what's missing in India.
Yeah.
You have a lot of, I think the government does an amazing job with Top Scheme. And they're doing an amazing job with Khelo India. But we need more private bodies to come in and help the government on the grassroots level, where the 8 to 18-year-olds, that's where we need help. Because, all the other countries in the world, by the time you're 16, 17, 18, you have been competing for like a decade, right? Our athletes start competing there.
At that age, correct.
And then by the time they get a decade of experience, they're almost done. Right? Like they're almost 30. So I think that's what will help us. Today, we have a clean roadmap for 2036. Hopefully, our PM will be able to drive 2036 to India, the Olympics, and 2030 Youth Olympics. I think this is a fantastic time for India to finally achieve its sports potential. And I can promise you that we will be contributing as much as we can.
You got to get more Indians to play sport. Make sport a way of life. That's what you're
And I know I'm going to go against our businesses in that sense, but get away from your phone, right? There's a healthy balance we must adopt, right? Which is about phones are for entertainment, for connection, for social networks, for gaming, for convenience, right? Your quick commerce, all of that. But we must encourage people to have the healthy balance of living your real life.
Not just that, I think the phone can also make you do physical activity.
Yes, absolutely.
It is.
One of the best-selling games on Quest is Supernatural, which is a fitness app.
That's right.
So it's a fitness app.
I will try it out actually. It looks amazing.
It makes you work up a sweat.
When I'm traveling, my phone is on and it's 1 hour of on a fitness app.
Yes.
So you are using the phone to do some mobility.
Technology for movement and for physical activity and getting better, which is you talk about.
So let me ask you, what goals have you set for India?
For
us as a nation?
For us as a nation.
What is Meta going to do for us?
So, when, look, I don't think I'm at a place where I can set goals for the country. I can set goals for Meta in India. And what we've done is...
That's what I asked you. What is Meta going to do for us?
So, yes. So, we see ourselves as all of this amazing work that's happening by, companies such as yourself, Dream 11. There's incredible momentum and energy in the country. We're talking about becoming an $8 trillion economy, 1 trillion coming from digital. And we see ourselves squarely as the catalyst to help that digital transformation. So be it, discovery on our platform, so we want more businesses to reach users, or be it, building a great platform where people can build community, users can find each other. So we focused on 3 things. One is on Reels, which is 50% of all the consumption that happens on Instagram is happening on short form on Reels today. So again, they're working with creators, creating experiences. That's one. 2, business messaging. So you talked about India. This makes me really proud. 60 lakh tickets on Delhi across metros last month were actually sold on WhatsApp.
Wow.
Right? So we started this as an experiment with one. Now, Mumbai Metro launched. Also, you can buy tickets on WhatsApp. So we're thinking about what are those moments where, people are standing in lines, where, they have to pay a utility bill, where it's cumbersome, where WhatsApp can come in and help with that. So again, business messaging has been the momentum has amazed us. The kind of use cases, our partners have built with us, companies have built with us has been amazing. Apollo is another. There's just tons of examples of people who have sort of innovated and built on WhatsApp. The third is really AI. So I do see AI as this kinetic transformation. You see digital transformation and then you see an exponential increase in that transformation, and that's AI. That's where we're investing in Llama, outsourcing it, working with a lot of developers. Gaming was the first to adopt AI-enabled tools on our platform. We had to convince people it's actually good, it'll improve your productivity. Now almost every advertiser is using that. So again, that's also transformative for India. Small businesses, we just announced Bharat Yatra, 20,000 businesses we're going to train around the country, 6,000 kilometers. I'm also going to go to some of those cities, 10 cities or so. So I'm looking forward to, so those are all some of the investments we're making. On AI specifically, the one call out I want to make is Jan LeCun, who's widely regarded as the godfather of AI.
Yeah.
He's actually in town next week.
Yes.
So we're doing a Build with Meta AI Day, and that's going to be happening in Bangalore. So we're going to get more and more people to come, spend time in the country, understand the potential, so we can continue to double down and invest. So if you ask me my vision, long answer, if we're seen as even like a 1 or 2% contributor to the amazing transformation happening in our country, I think our job as Meta is done here.
Well, we're going to pause for a bit, a short break. The conversation continues on the other side. Stay with us. You've done a lot with fantasy sports, with dream sports, but you're also in a bit of a pickle where you see gaming getting gamed. What is gaming? What's not gaming? There seems to be a whole thing, and the good seems to be getting crushed with the bad.
Yeah.
So is that a problem area for you?
Yes, I think that's a problem area, because I think whenever there's any lack of clarity, usually the good actors suffer more, right? Now, we can't be judge, jury, executioner about what is good and what is bad. We don't know. We can rely on our judicial system. We can rely on our government. So I think that the judicial system has already said that games like fantasy are legally proven as games of skill and not betting and gambling. There are other games also like Ravi that have passed that, but the government cannot look at, the judiciary cannot look at every single game, because there are 1,000 games out there. So we are really looking forward to a time where the government actually has a regulatory outlook, which had started last year, and we hope that by next year will complete into providing regulations at a central level about what is allowed and what is not allowed.
So a game of skill and a game of chance is getting muddled. So there's no clear definition ki no ball kya hai, wide kya hai.
Correct. Aur sab log chakka mare. Right? And everyone is saying that this is the right way to play. So we are not against any one game. We just want clarity, because that will help stability and certainty come to the sector. For example, FDI has been at an all-time low in gaming in the last 1 or 2 years because of the same thing. They're all waiting to see clarity aayega, then we'll invest.
So the government will give clarity via policy, or courts will give clarity via defining what's gaming?
No, so court has already given clarity to a couple of games, but there's no way all 1,000 games get to go to court, and court actually that's not a use of court's time as well. The government, through the policy and regulatory, can come out and say, this is the Lakshman Rekha. Here is how games can be regulated as games of skill or games of chance. Even for free-to-play games, this is what is acceptable in terms of content. For esports, this is how we'll define what games are esports, right? What games qualify as esports. That will create a growth curve for Indian gaming, where we'll finally be able to overtake China. That's the only market ahead of us. And we're very sure that in the next 4 or 5 years, we'll overtake China as well to be the largest gaming market in the world.
Yeah, you're ready to drive, but just define the road for us.
Yes,
but in the absence of this, how are you doing?
So the way we think about it is there's games of skills only that are allowed on our platform. So we have a very stringent onboarding process. So folks like Dream11, for example, have to follow our rules when they're on our platform. Even when we launched, the ability for gaming companies to connect with their users on WhatsApp, we went through the same process. We did a pilot first, did it in a very restricted manner. And even now, it's only to us, a small set of, gaming companies that we think can responsibly reach out to people on our platform. We take our responsibility pretty seriously. We're a large platform. We connect, hundreds of millions of users across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So we have reporting mechanisms. So if you see something that's objectionable, you can report that. We spend a lot on AI on keeping content on our platform safe, that it's not violating. So there is investments that we made overall on making the experience on our platforms a lot safer. and a lot more the way we'd want it to be for our users. And that also covers what we do on gaming. We don't create the games. What we provide is a platform for gaming companies to reach their audiences, for creators to connect with each other, to create communities, talk about the games they care about. And I think the other bit that we're doing, which is not in India as yet, is all the investments we've made in the metaverse. So, Quest. And if you think about the future of, computing and gaming, I think really that immersive reality where you feel like you're in the game and engaging in it will be, the next wave of how people interact. We just dropped the prices for the Quest headset. It's now $299. It's Quest 3S. So we see a world in which a lot more people are experiencing gaming on AR, VR, and XR as well. And what we're doing is building a lot of those safety features by design in terms of who you can interact with, what we do on age gating. All of that is getting built in terms of how we think about that.
You've tied up with the Columbia University.
Yes.
What's the thought process behind that? How that academia is getting into the gaming verse?
Yes.
Why and how?
So, when we started working on machine learning and deep tech, we did this about like 6-7 years ago, before AI was cool, right? And we did that more for optimizing our models and keeping on improving it and growing it. However, we kind of started plateauing out when we got, to the top of machine learning,
Right.
and we needed some more help with reinforcement learning. Now, the advanced machine learning techniques, which most people are using today, I know that people call it AI, but most of it is actually machine learning and not as much AI. AI will be when you're actually like sentient, really, right? But it's all heading there. I hope we don't end up like the Terminator movies. But
the Terminator movie also had the good and the bad.
The good and bad. That's right. Every technology has to have good and bad, right? There's nothing new that has ever come out. Even the internet itself was created as a defense project, actually, right?
Correct.
So, in that sense, people will say it was created for bad, for defense, for war.
Yeah.
But clearly, it's changed the world in ways that will always be only a net positive.
True.
So, coming back to AI, I think we wanted to work a lot more and take it to the next level. And while India has great talent and we are getting better, today the fact of the matter is the US is ahead of us in that, higher decile of AI and ML. And so we partnered with Columbia University, which is also my alma mater. But we tied up with them because we said that can we create a bridge between them and between India and have our scientists, our data scientists, learn from them and work with them on the enormity of the scale that is India. So they get excited by the quantums and the, like literally the data sets available. And our people get excited about the opportunity to learn and catch up to the US. And that's what the Columbia DreamSpots AI Innovation Center is about.
Okay. But since you're creating so much, there is also this whole aspect of with great power comes great responsibility. So I'm quoting Spider-Man here.
Yes.
But so in the Spider-Verse or in the gaming verse, how do you do responsible consumption?
So I think it's very important, and responsible gaming needs to be part of that, regulations we spoke about.
Yeah.
Now, as a precursor to regulations coming out, we didn't want to just sit there. So we started doing responsible gaming ourselves proactively. For example, for Dream 11, we have KYC when users want to play. We have a very stringent KYC if they want to win win money and withdraw money. We have to do we make sure we do age gating because you're only 18 and above to be playing for money. We make sure we do geolocation so that any states, we can make sure where we're playing from and whether states are legal, not allowed. We want to play by the law. We also have responsible limits because today we set default limits for you, which we advise you to have because we want this to be entertainment. 99% of our users have never lost more than 10,000 rupees, right? In their lifetime, they play an average ticket size of 50 rupees. This is pure entertainment. And this allows people to be aspirational, allows them to engage with the sport that they love.
It becomes more a test of the skill. By actual
That's right.
Let me see how much my acumen is and whether I can get it right. And my
we have a lot of correct. We have a lot of users for whom sports was a lifelong passion and they wanted to become a sports player, but they couldn't. And then they can relive that entire sports, passion now through engaging with sports.
What about you? Responsible consumptions?
So,
Is there a time limit that you've been there staring at that screen for so long?
so I
Stop.
think, overall on a platform level, I think, for example, on Instagram, you can set, after a point, if you've been scrolling too much, we'll tell you enough for the day, right? So I think, so we put in notifications for kids. We just announced a series of features where parents have a lot more control over the Instagram accounts of their teenagers. We're rolling that globally as well, and come to India at some point. What we've also done is done things like if we identify you as a teenager, we default you a teen-only account where people can't contact you. So even for gaming, for example, on the advertising side, if we know your age, there's limits on what you can, who you can target and how, right? So there is a whole bunch of things we've done, not just on platform experience, but also in terms of how you can target and who you can target and what messages you can target with.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic energy here. We're going to pause this conversation, but this is going to continue offline. And of course, here on IGC and other platforms across News 18 also, we're going to take this conversation forward.